So welcome everybody to the 2021-2022 CACR speaker series. We're delighted today to have Lynn Dohm with us. I apologize if I mispronounced that, Lynn. And we have Maureen Biggers from here at IU to moderate. Maureen, I turn the floor over to you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So welcome everyone to today's talk. And it is co-sponsored by CACR, as you know, and the IU Center of Excellence for Women in Technology, which is otherwise known as CWIT. I'm Maureen Biggers, and I serve as the Executive Director for CWIT. So some of you are gathered together in watch parties, and some are with us and virtually as individuals, but wherever you are, we welcome you. And as we begin, let me just mention that at any point, if you have questions, you can put them into the chat, and we will be dealing with questions after Lynn has finished her talk. So now it is my great pleasure to introduce you to our speaker. So Lynn Dohm is the Executive Director for Women in Cybersecurity, which is otherwise known as WESIS. She brings more than 25 years of organizational and leadership experience to WESIS as she works on bridging the cybersecurity workforce gap. So this involves a focus on recruitment, retention, advancement of women in cybersecurity, and more. As you will see, she's passionate about the need for diverse mindsets, skill sets, and perspectives, and she facilitates learning discussions about leading with inclusion, equity, and allyship. In addition to Lynn being awarded the top 100 women in cybersecurity by Cybersecurity Defense magazine, she accepted the Nonprofit of the Year award for WESIS in both 2020 and 2021. So congratulations, Lynn. She's on numerous cybersecurity judging panels and advisory boards and is an inaugural member of the DEI task force for the International Information System Security Certification Consortium. She's been interviewed on TV and radio throughout the nation and is a keynote presenter, panelist, and moderator for multiple international conferences, events, and organizations. She's probably recovering from the national conference for WESIS, which took place in March. And I will mention that we sent 8 individuals, 1 faculty, 3 staff, and 4 undergraduate students. And all are most appreciative of the high quality experience they had at your conference, Lynn. So please welcome Lynn as she talks today about new possibilities in the cybersecurity workforce. And I turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Maureen, for that kind introduction. It's a great pleasure to be here today at Indiana University for this webinar. I'm super excited to share more about the WESIS organization. And yes, we did just have our big conference. It was fabulous. And I'll touch a little bit on that in the presentation today as well. So I'm going to go ahead and share my slides. Can everyone see those? Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, let me just see here. I have to close out a couple things, and then I'm going to do this slideshow play from start. So my name is Lynn Dohm. I'm Women in Cybersecurity Executive Director, and we often go by our acronym WESIS. It's WICYS, and we pronounce it WESIS like we sisters because that's exactly what we are. We are a cyber sisterhood. And as you can see, WESIS has a very large table where each and every one of us has a seat where we belong. So whether you're joining us here today because you're interested in learning more about cybersecurity, or you're a cybersecurity student, a faculty member, or industry professional, WESIS is a community where everyone's involved. We have over 5,400 members with representation in over 70 countries, and our community is comprised of women, men, allies, and advocates that all have a strong mission and passion to recruit, retain, and advance women in cybersecurity. And we do so because we care about the cybersecurity workforce. We care about the security of ourselves. We care about the security of you, of the companies that we work for, our communities, our families, our friends, and our countries. And therefore, we care about building the capacity, and currently we're at a workforce shortage. So for us, our focus is on recruiting, retaining, advancing women in cybersecurity, and we know we're not doing this alone. All hands are on deck. So the conversation is going to lend itself to a journey of where WESIS is at right now and where we're heading in the future. But first, I'd like to invite you to have a seat at my table. And it's one where the dishes are loud and clanking around, and big, boisterous voices are echoing all throughout the house, where ethnic food is always being prepared, and it's mingled with the woodsy smell and rich smell of the fireplace. This is the 1970s, and these are the sights and sounds of my childhood home, one that brings me great comfort and joy. And like most children, part of my daily activity was setting the table for family dinner. And so each and every evening, I would mosey my way into the yellow wallpapered kitchen. I would reach high up on the freshly floral contact paper lined shelf and grab a thick stack of Corelle dishes, the most unbreakable of unbreakable kind of dishes that you could imagine. And I would go into the dining room and set a spot for my parents, set down the plates, the utensils, and the napkins, set a place for each of my brothers. And part of my routine included going to the corner of the dining room, grabbing a chair and bringing it to the corner of the table, where I sat close to my mother, because together we were a united front out of the outnumbered household of 4 big, bold, older, and very vocal older brothers. And as dinner progressed, naturally the laughter got louder, but of course the heated discussions got started, never failed. And one brother would outdo another brother, would outdo another brother. And of course, everyone in the room always had to be right. And so I would sit, I would listen, and I would learn, knowing that I could be just as loud as everyone else there, but also knowing that my voice would not be heard. At a very young age, I knew that I was indeed being raised in a very old-fashioned household. Boys did yard work, 4 older brothers. Girls did housework, 1 daughter. And even as my mother championed me to go to college, she always had to assure my grandfather it was so that I can meet and marry an educated man, secretly knowing it was so that I could become an educated woman myself. And through those years of me sitting, listening, and learning brought an incredible amount of determination. When I was told I was a hiring risk by someone I trusted deeply, because someday I wanted to have children, I was determined. When I did not negotiate my salary because I did not know how to, and I didn't have anyone to lean in on, I was determined. And when I accepted a job that didn't have maternity leave and returned back to the workforce, putting a 2-week-old in childcare, I was determined. Because I knew I had to get out on the other side ever so slightly to make a difference. And that difference was not so much for myself, but for the women that I stand next to, and women in cybersecurity. It's always been so interesting to me that prior to 2014, there wasn't a strong inclusion and diversity effort in the cybersecurity workforce. But yet we've always been at this workforce shortage. And women have significantly been impacted by gender balance challenges within the STEM workforce for quite some time. So in 2014, our founder, Dr. Ambereen Siraj at Tennessee Tech University, she decided to do something about that. And why? When she was a student studying cybersecurity, loving what she was studying, she realized that she was one of very few other women in the classroom, if any at all. And when she became a professor teaching what she loved, cybersecurity, in a whole world of nothing but employment opportunities, she realized that the ratio did not change a bit, that she was still the only female in the room or had very other women in the classroom. So she reached out to NSF to receive some seed funding to bring women in cybersecurity together to talk about cybersecurity. And from that point, a community was formed. NSF awarded her $70,000, anticipating that was enough money for her to engage 250 women. Being the trailblazing women that Dr. Siraj is, she engaged 900 women with that money, 350 in 2014, 550 in 2015. And then through a lot of hard work, networking, and connecting with the right communities, companies, and organizations, she continued to fund and grow the conference. So we did just have the WSIS 2022 conference, and it was amazing. We had over 1,700 attendees in Cleveland, Ohio. And we are the flagship conference for women in cybersecurity. We still remain a significantly large women in cybersecurity conference, but we control the growth of the conference strategically because we're unique in the fact that regardless of gender, we are the only cybersecurity conference that ensures equal representation of students and professionals. And how we do that is that for every regular registrant, we issue a female cybersecurity student scholarship. So students cannot just register to attend the conference. They could be sponsored, like Indiana University did. They sponsored students to come. But all students have to go through the scholarship application process and procedures. And when we open up registration, which typically reaches full capacity in less than a day, for every regular registrant, we issue a female student scholarship. And we owe all of this thanks to our conference sponsors that believe in you and believe in us in making a difference and driving the change that's needed in the cybersecurity workforce because of it. So at the WSIS conference, we're so proud to say that we demonstrate diversity, not by continually pointing out the problem, but by showcasing a spectrum of talent from a diverse group of professionals. I could sit here all day and I could speak of all the great words of the WSIS community. Like Maureen said, the students that you sent love this conference. It's amazing, the energy, the excitement as the professionals are joining. It's a technical conference for their professional development. We're bringing in the students with all their energy, their expertise, and their research, and all the information that they have to share. But I think it's a much better example for you to go out and search the WSIS 2022 hashtag yourself. Hear from the voice of our community on their conference experience, on their WSIS experience. This is a 2-day conference that just happened 2 weeks ago. After the first day, our hashtag reached 9.5 million. After the second day, our hashtag reached 16 million. If that doesn't speak volumes to the power of the WSIS Cyber Sisterhood and the global impact that we're all trying to make, I don't know what does. So we're proud to say that March 16th through the 18th in 2023, we're back in Denver, Colorado. But there's some things that I want to bring to everyone's awareness here is that come August, September, we're going to be opening up that student scholarship, faculty lodging grants, veteran fellowships, and many other fellowship awards. All those applications are going to be opening up come August or September. So if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the WSIS newsletter. If you go to WSIS.org, in the upper right-hand side of the page says subscribe. This will keep you up to date with all things coming for WSIS. We also have our call for participation and poster session applications opening around August to September. All of this only stays open around 4 or 5 weeks, so you do not want to miss the opportunity to be a part of the incredible conference experience. But because our conference reaches full capacity in less than a day, and we control the growth of the conference strategically each and every year, and because we have a wait list that's close to the thousands every year, in 2018, we decided to become a 501c3 nonprofit. So now our mission is to recruit, retain, and advance women in cybersecurity. And it's really important to focus on this life cycle. We could recruit women all we want into the workforce, but to not have that retention piece in place would be a disservice if we're going to make a difference in the workforce itself. You all likely know, as well as I know, that the average woman steps out of her tech career at the age of 35. Women that go into technology, typically 50% of them step out after 5 years. This is a major retention issue that the community has. And for us as a nonprofit, we not only recruit into the workforce, employers engage with us, universities engage with us to make sure that retention piece is in place and that we're making a difference in the workforce because of it. And then, of course, advancement. As the higher women rise in their careers, the less and less of us there are. So in order to avoid any boredom, we provide many different advancement opportunities so that the full cycle of recruitment, retention, and advancement is there for all those that are part of our community. So now we have over 5,400 members, representation in over 70 countries. We have 43 professional affiliates, and those are mini WSIS organizations. And they're in Africa, Australia, Canada, France, India, Pakistan, the UK, and all throughout the United States. We have 212 professional affiliate leaders that are rising up in a leadership capacity within the WSIS organization to run these affiliates and to engage within their region other women in cybersecurity. We have over 150 student chapters, one on your campus. And we also have 150 student chapter leaders, which means 150 faculty advisors have stepped up and said, yes, we're here to make a difference and drive the change that's needed in the workforce because of it. And they're cultivating this community on the campuses. And we do all this is because WSIS is a place where we all belong. And as you will see in the upcoming slides, everything that we do is built based on the power of community because of it. We are cultivating this culture in this space of inclusion because we want you all to thrive in your careers because of it. And in the world of focusing on the metric of diversity, we tend to take a step back and really dive in deeper on inclusion and what does that mean to others? Because inclusion is much harder to measure and it's only felt, and it's felt when you're excluded. So it's very complicated. And for WSIS as a nonprofit organization, we're here to bridge that gap and to be able to cultivate that community in a place where everyone belongs, whether student, professional, CISO, BISO, executive director, VP of cybersecurity. We're all hands on deck to make that difference. And we bridge this gap and bring the community together because we know, and research has shown, that that drives success, that drives happiness, satisfaction in the workplace, and even longevity. So these opportunities is where it's at. And so you can see that our annual conference is on this page here, but it's one of many different initiatives. We now have an online member forum where all our members can network and connect. And within our online member forum, we have special interest groups such as Latinas in cybersecurity, military spouses in cybersecurity, data privacy, cybersecurity law, you name it, whatever conversation that you want to have focused around cybersecurity, you could find your community within the online member forum. And if a special interest group isn't there for you, you launch your own. We have many different skill development training programs, and I'm going to be talking about those in just a second. We have our newsletters, which I already pointed to you for. Go to the WSIS.org and subscribe to our newsletter to never miss a beat about things that are going on. We have webinar series, scholarship grants and awards, not only for our conference, but for other conferences as well. I just received funding this morning to start sending other WSIS members to many different conferences all around the world as well. We have our Cyber Talent Emergency Fund, which I can't wait to tell you more about that, and speaking and media opportunities so our members could be what others can see. And that's the cybersecurity professionals that they are. Our job board plus, apprenticeships, internships, leadership summits, leadership series, all of that we're going to be discussing. So in 2020, we woke up on the morning of March 5th of 2020, and we could all think back to 2 years ago and know exactly what took place. And that morning at 9 o'clock, as an executive committee, we met and we said, yes, we know that WSIS 2020 is happening in Denver, Colorado, March 12th through the 14th. And COVID-19 is not going to impact that because it's going to be in a week and we have nothing to worry about. And by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, that conference was no longer viable. And we made the emotional and financial and tough decision to cancel that conference. But what we did at that point is that we knew that our community needed us more than ever. Studies have shown how many women have stepped out of the workforce and was impacted significantly financially and in their careers, downgrading their careers even because of the challenges and the responsibilities that came about with work from home and COVID-19. So within less than 5 weeks, we launched into a virtual conference, one that we've always talked about having, but we never did. COVID-19 brought that experience to us and to our community faster, but we needed to bring everyone together. So it caught the attention of Google that we launched into a virtual platform and a conference and gathered everyone so quickly together. And they decided to reach out to us and do more. They wanted to know how to shift their funding from these in-person events to virtual events, but events that are going to make an impact in women's lives and give them more opportunities, something to add to their LinkedIn profiles, to their resumes, to be able to speak to the experiences because of it. And so that's what came to the Security Training Scholarship. The very first year, it was funded by Google. We partnered with strategic partner SANS Institute. We opened up enrollment to a multi-tiered program where in each and every part of the tier, if you didn't advance to the next tier, you were still walking away with an incredible learning experience that you could build upon. We had initially 900 enroll, then it tiered down to 450, which tiered down to 100, which made it possible for 15 final recipients to receive advanced certifications, and all of them were employed in less than a year. That's life-changing. So Bloomberg and Meta liked what they saw, and they not only wanted to sustain the program that was built in 2020, they wanted to build it and grow it and scale it as well. And so we're proud to say that now we have 40 final recipients, and they're in their last stages of their certifications, and we look forward to the opportunities and employment that's to come for them. So in less than a year, these women have taken a risk on themselves, and they started a journey that invested an incredible amount of time and attention, and not one person said it was easy. It was hard. They were doing it while they were going through school, while they were raising families, while they were working full time. But their career was elevated and they were thriving in the cybersecurity space because of it. We have a veteran apprenticeship program where we partner with SmoothStack, a strategic partner of ours. And then SentinelOne and Bloomberg raised their hand and joined forces, being the employer partner here, where we provided the training with SmoothStack and employment opportunities for a 2-year apprenticeship. And we're proud to say that we have 17 WSIS members that are veterans apprentices in that program. That's life-changing. We also have a mentor-mentee program where we designed and developed a curriculum to upskill and up-level women no matter where they're at in their careers, preparing them for their next level of advancement. And right now we have 185 mentors in that program and 745 mentees. This program is put into a cohort setting. And again, it's about cultivating the community. We have the student chapter community, the professional affiliate community, the mentor-mentee cohort community, the skill development training program cohort community, all of that. Our WSIS internship program was brought to us by student chapter presidents because they were receiving application burnout. And how was I to know what that was? I haven't applied for an internship in many, many, many years. And it certainly wasn't through a portal on the internet going from one application to another one. So we listened and we learned from that experience, and we built a direct pipeline from our WESIS members to apply right to our strategic partner internship opportunities. And we created that pathway by only having one application and breaking it down by criteria and giving the employer partners a short stack list of what WESIS members fit their internships perfectly for them to recruit and hire from there. We also put into this program a Cyber Gen IQ assessment. The reason being is for anyone that applies for an internship that they're walking away with something. We know they want to be walking away with the internship, but the Cyber Gen IQ assessment gives them something even above and beyond that. And if they didn't get the internship, they're walking away with an area and assessment where they could focus in and hone on their attention even further. We have a WESIS Cyber Fast Track cohort that's taking place right now with over 350 members in that cohort. And also the Cyber Talent Emergency Fund. We know that emergencies happen. So this fund was put in place in 2021 and is funded again throughout 2022, is so that students within their last 4 semesters of graduating with cybersecurity, if they have a true financial emergency, like their car breaks down, or there's a medical expense, or hey, they can't afford rent this month, we don't want anything to deter them from their studies and what they're striving towards in their cybersecurity careers. So within 48 hours, these students can receive up to $599, enough money to get them over that gap, to get them over that hump, and to get them back focused on their studies. Our Job Board Plus Plus is a place for strategic partners to post their jobs and recruit from year round. And all our members have access to upload their resumes and their profiles. And we owe all of this and so much more, each and every program, to our strategic partners. These are the foundation of all things WESIS. We couldn't do what we have with other strategic partners. And Indiana University is a proud partner of ours. For those of you on Instagram, our Instagram Takeovers is a great area for you to see what's going on in the workforce. We really want to give you the raw version of it all, the human side, that impact. And so these strategic partners all take turns on taking over our Instagram. So if you're an Instagram user, follow Women in Cybersecurity, and you can see all our past stories are there from these takeovers. And it really gives you that raw version of what is it like being a woman in cyber. Right now, we have open available as one of our many training programs, the Cyber Defense Challenge, and it's made possible by Target. We have over 900, or I'm sorry, not 900, 400 enrolled. I was going to say 900, 400 enrolled in that program. So we just did a webinar, and you could find the recording to the webinar on our website too to learn more. And then also our fall virtual career fair. So we do all of this and so much more is because we know that the diversity of thought matters in the workforce. And it takes genders, identities, ethnicities, cultures, experiences, backgrounds, and more to solve the problems that have never previously existed. And the more diverse of a workforce, the more effective of a cybersecurity workforce and the teams that are being built on the power of diversity of thought. The adversaries are certainly attacking underrepresented populations, and cybersecurity teams need to have the multitasking, multidimensional areas to be able to focus and tackle the challenges as they're coming in. And so at WESIS, we often say together we thrive, and it's truly the space where we all belong. And as one woman rises, we lend our hand out and bring another woman to rise with us. So we encourage you to grow with us, whether it's subscribing to our newsletter, joining a professional affiliate, becoming a part and active contributor to a student chapter. We have over 5,400 members, and we're all over social media. And you could connect with me to ask me any additional questions. And I, like many women in InfoSec, love Twitter. So please connect with me on Twitter and continue the conversation there as well. And so I'd like to go ahead and just stop right there. I know this is a lot of information, and answer any questions that anyone might have. Oh, Maureen, you're muted.
Right, sorry. Yeah, I have a question to start. And then anybody else, if you could just type your question in the chat, that would be great. But at the very beginning, you talked about the challenges. It's one thing to bring the women into the workforce, but then the retention is so important, and yes, the advancement. But if you could talk a little bit about, why do 50% of the women leave? What can you do, or what do you do that makes a difference with that challenge?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I was just interviewed in a podcast right before this call, and they asked the same exact question. So, the culture, and we all know that the culture, the inclusiveness of a company and an employer really stems from the leadership and the culture of the organization. We all sense it and vibe it. We know what it's like. We know when we walk in a room and we don't belong, not that we don't belong, that people don't want us to belong. And we know when we belong, and we know that others are welcoming and have like an inclusive, comfortable, trustworthy space to be. And so that's the same in any areas, in any type of community, and certainly within any different companies. There are issues that women have had within the STEM workforce, and that is, the perceived notion of, in cybersecurity specifically, that a hacker is a hoodie and he's in a dark basement and is a male and it's a more aggressive type individual. And so that deters women to go into the workforce, and sometimes. But when it comes to looking at why are women stepping out, there's all sorts of different factors that take place. And perhaps for some individuals, why they're stepping out is like the concept of a death by 1,000 paper cuts. It's multiple things that have added up to a point where that decision is made for her to step out of the workforce because of it. Perhaps it might be a very male-dominated team that's put on. Perhaps there's some unconscious bias there. Perhaps there's been points where she's been passed up for promotional opportunities, and now she's bored because of it. She doesn't feel like there's a clear point of advancement in her career because of it, and she wants to go where there's advancement opportunities. No one wants to be at a place where there's not career advancement opportunities. That's the humans that we are. But in cybersecurity, being forever learners, we only want to learn and advance and grow our skills because of it. And so those are just one of many different reasons. Microaggressions, not clear, not being a part of a community, and many other reasons and more. So we are overcoming those challenges. And it was interesting because I was just at a conference last October, and I was invited to speak at it. And afterwards, I was at a CISO event having lunch, and there was a gentleman sit next to me, and he's a CISO of a big company in the Ohio area. And he said that he had 35% women on his team. I was like, that's amazing. That's wonderful. What are you doing? I mean, our stats are clearly there that women make up roughly 20 to 24% of the workforce. And he just looked at me. He said, I'm paying attention. And I was like, it's as simple as that. Mindful practices of paying attention of the community that you have and the team that you're building. He didn't take that there are no women in cybersecurity to fulfill the roles for the positions. He didn't take that response from the recruiters. Instead, he shifted gears and started supporting and finding areas where women in cybersecurity exist, such as WSIS. He also was mindful of how he was writing job requisitions. Is this a massive wish list, which everyone seems to be outsourcing themselves? Or were there so many items on the job rec where that's on the job training anyways? And no matter what, cybersecurity is looked at as like an apprenticeship mindset. As soon you could have all the skill sets in the world, but you still have to learn more tools when you get into that role. So there's many different opportunities to upskill and train cybersecurity workforce. And this gentleman in particular, along with many others that I've encountered, are just putting those mindful practices in place. They're becoming active listeners, allies, and advocates for women in cybersecurity. And they're making a difference in the culture of their teams. They're building a more diverse workforce because of it, and they're making a difference in their companies as well.
Great, thank you. I see a question here that says, do you have suggestions for online cybersecurity education or certificates for someone who's working full-time in IT already?
There's so many avenues to take. I don't, it's really, that's one of the reasons why we create many different pathways into cybersecurity, even through WSIS ourselves. I mean, there's not a clear pathway into cybersecurity. It's an ecosystem and it needs to be navigated. And so what we do is we provide many different opportunities for you to learn and grow. And I'd love for you to watch the Target webinar that we had yesterday. It's recorded, it's on our website under calendar of events. You would be able to find it because the VP of security, Jody Couch, she was on there and she was talking about that cyber defense challenge and how that's going to make a difference in how they hire those folks that participate in that challenge themselves. So certifications, degrees, they all make a difference. It's just how you enter into cybersecurity. There's so many different avenues and ways for you to do that. So with us, we offer that CyberGen IQ assessment to help kind of streamline your focus area. Where do you have the aptitude? And then we could help you navigate into what next steps from there that fit into you. But in all our different training programs, in all our different initiatives, there's all walks of life, all women at so many levels with different experiences, full-time roles. One of our security training scholarships was a stay-at-home mom for the last 15 years. Her name is Hema. I love her story because she heard of the word cybersecurity like a month before the security training scholarship program popped up on her LinkedIn profile. She was like, oh, what's this? This sounds interesting. And that's curiosity. Curiosity is very important as a cybersecurity professional. And she decided to apply for it. But just so happened she had an incredible amount of aptitude, of determination, of grit, and try again. And through that program, we don't level up individuals that are just excelling. We level up people that are trying and working hard, and we take that in consideration. So when we put a capture and flag in front of them, we're looking at how many times did they step away from that and go back to that challenge, and how many times did it take them to get that challenge done and done right, instead of just walking away and keep on walking. And that is the determination and the grit that the workforce needs. And so that's all our programs are built out to have so many different individuals enter from so many different ways and to be able to advance in their careers.
I have a quick question. So the assessment that you talked about, who sees the results of that? Because I know you need people with grit, you need women with grit, men, and but some people, if they're brand new to the field, they might be hesitant to even go take an assessment because who's going to see it?
Yeah, it's just for their eyes only. It's for their eyes of, oh, you have great aptitude and skill sets for forensics, or, you have, it just kind of helps streamline your thought process of, okay, where do we go next?
Okay,
so it's just for that person to see. We don't share it with employers unless you're applying for a specific program where it's, where that's part of the program. The CyberGen IQ aptitude assessment is part of that program, like your internship program. When we provide our employers the short stack of WSIS members that fill all the criteria for their internship job recs, we also include our members' resumes and their aptitude assessment, not necessarily their scores, but the area of aptitude that they wrote that rose to the top.
Great. Okay, so now we have a question from Cassandra Norris. She says, thank you for speaking with us today. As a non-traditional student, it is very intimidating just figuring out where to start and what skills to build first. There always seems to be an assumption of baseline levels of knowledge that are not always there. Does WSIS help women who are absolute beginners to map their careers?
That's a great question. And yes, we do. That's our mentor-mentee program, is to just sync up and get a mentor along the step of the way. Also, our cyber defense challenge that's coming up that will help, because we're in a cohort setting, there's technical mentors there. So every program that we have kind of has that, like, let's figure this out. Let's map out your career because of that. And again, it's navigating. It's it's kind of finding your way through the ecosystem of it all. So check out everything on our website, sync up with me, with the mentor mentee program, dive in, just like, take the risk on yourself and just dive in. If you feel like, oh, I'm new, it's do it afraid sometimes. Sometimes you just have to register and sign up for something. Be like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? I've never participated in a CTF. I'm just going to dive right in and see what this is all about. What's going to happen is that you're going to walk away with skills that you've never had before. And you might not master all the skills, and you might not, get, complete high scores, but you're showing up as a better version of yourself because of it. The next time you go to that next training program or CTF or anything that you join in. So just dive in. People take risks on themselves. Don't outsource yourself of an opportunity. Jump in and just know that everyone is in the same position. And that does not stop at any point of your career.
Lynn, this is Joe Tomaine. This is a really wonderful talk. Thank you so much. First, I love your background with the instruments on the wall.
Thank you.
And I want to share a very good story here. So I'm teaching an information privacy law course here at the law school, and I have 16 students, and 10 of them are women. 6 of them are JD students, and the other 4 are either LLM or exchange students from Korea, Hungary, and Spain. So it's been a really wonderful course, and hopefully we see more of that. The audience here is broad. It's a IU event, but I have a question particularly of interest perhaps to law students and to lawyers. So are there opportunities through WeSys that are focused on lawyers or law students?
Yes, we have actually a special interest group, cyber law, special interest group. And we just got inquiry to launch a WeSys cyber law affiliate. So we have lots of professionals. We have cybersecurity sales, cybersecurity, writers. We have all sorts of different conversations that are happening in every aspect of cybersecurity, technical and non-technical. But cybersecurity law, the community is growing and expanding within WeSys to a point now where they feel themselves they're ready to launch into an affiliate and even make a broader impact. So stay tuned. If you're subscribed to our newsletter, you'll be notified when the cybersecurity law affiliate opens up. And it's a great opportunity for your students to be able to step into that space.
Thank you.
Well, and related to that, so the center here is open to all majors on campus. We have over 300 disciplines represented, among our affiliates. And you mentioned that it's technical, that cybersecurity is technical and non-technical. And we've been hearing that it's interdisciplinary. And I wondered if you could just talk a little bit about the non-technical pieces of it, and what does that mean? And what is it, interdisciplinary, or is it mostly technical?
Well, cybersecurity is now baked into every aspect of every business element. So it once was like an IT problem where they got brought in and they had to fix it, and then IT guy kind of got shoved in a corner again. And now it's this broad spectrum of every business element. So we even just launched a WeSys business information security officer and so I'm sure you're likely familiar with the term now, that this business information security officer is within companies that are bridging the gap between cybersecurity and all the business elements of cybersecurity. So there's governance, risk, compliance. There's so many. There's technical writing. There's non-technical communications in cybersecurity law. There's so many different elements, and it's really just looking and seeing what area resonates with you. But it is baked in and infused in every business aspect. It's every part of everything that we do. And cybersecurity is interesting because it's invisible when it's working. So you don't hear about cybersecurity when it's working. It's always there. And that means it's working. You only hear about it when it's not working. So that's where the challenge comes too, is because it's like everything must be good because we don't hear about cybersecurity. We only hear about it when it's bad. Things are breached. Then it's big news. We hear a lot more newsworthy items recently, the past couple of years, than ever before. So the workforce demand is there. There's 3.5 unfilled jobs right now. I think there's over 600,000 in the US alone. Don't quote me on that stat. I haven't checked it recently, but you could go to CyberSeek and you could see where the unfilled jobs are in the United States and what that number is. But I'm assuming it's roughly around 600,000.
Wow.
There's a heat map they have there and it's updated monthly. So,
That's amazing. So Victoria Jones writes, where would someone begin to connect with your organization to find out more?
So you could subscribe to our newsletter. We're a member-based organization, so you could join as a member. We have, I think our student membership fee is $20 annually. We have professionals are $95 annually. Then you get access to all things WSIS. So what's great about every program that we launch and have, if you're a member, you're included in it. So that $95 annual fee as a professional includes everything. Our mentor mentee program, our all our different initiatives, our training programs, our apprenticeship program. It doesn't matter what area you kind of navigate into. So I just recommend you subscribe to our newsletter and start getting acclimated with the WSIS org. When you see that scholarship opportunities, presenter opportunities, the WSIS 2023 conference opening up for call for participation or poster sessions or faculty lodging grants, whatever it is that opens up, put yourself out there. And submit a presentation, submit a poster if you're a student, apply for a scholarship, apply for a grant to get to that conference. Become a part of WSIS, and you have, if you join the WSIS on a nonprofit basis, on the joining as a member, you're going to start receiving members' news bites where there's going to be speaking and media opportunities, where that there's going to want to hear from a cybersecurity professional that's maybe in cybersecurity law or studying courses in it. And what does that look like? But we want our members to be what others can see, and that's the professionals that they are and part of the cybersecurity workforce. So you just dive right in. So subscribe to the newsletter, join as a member, jump on the opportunities. Don't think the opportunities are always going to last. We always have a start date and an end date for opening enrollment and closing enrollment. So when you see it, just do it and dive right in. Everything we build out is always tiered. So you learn something, and then if you don't advance to the next tier or to the next stage, you're stepping away with a lot of experience already. So.
Hey, let's see, we have a question here. How can someone access the assessment that you were talking about earlier? Is that right from your website, or do you have to be a member first and then you can access it?
You could, yes, you have to be a member. It's only for our members. And it's part of our internship program. And it's also part of our mentor mentee program. So it's part of two really big programs we have. And so it's included in both of those programs. It likely will be included in more programs moving forward, but those are the two programs it's included with right now.
Can somebody just take it without being a part of a program?
I could probably make that happen. I haven't even, we've just been letting folks know, just wait for the internships, because the internship program is going to be opening up quarterly, and the mentor mentee program, we're going to be opening up enrollment again for the 2022-2023 cohort shortly. So it's open for both mentors and mentees in that program.
Great. And thank you, Brian Kelly. He sent us a link to the article that says hackers path eased as 600,000 US cybersecurity jobs sit empty. This is a huge field and it's going to keep growing, right?
Yes. Yeah, there's zero unemployment, nothing but opportunities. I mean, great career advancement opportunities within it. It's just a matter of how we're going to get more involved and what those steps are.
Lynn, I have another question for you. So if you have an organization of two people, you're going to have differing opinions. Your organization is much bigger than that. So what are some of the challenging issues where there might be differences of opinion within WSIS or cybersecurity at large? What are some of the challenges you see of groups coming together?
That's a good question. I mean, we're such a large organization and we have 5 full-time staff. When I first started in October 2019, I was the first full-time staff. And now we have 5. So we're growing with our staffing to manage. And a lot of that is the program, the programming, like program managements. But I mean, when it comes to like the challenges, what we see, I think there's still a lot of educating we have to do on allyship and advocacy. I'm being brought into a lot of conversations as of recently. So it hasn't, like within the past 2-3 months, on what can we do more to educate on allyship and advocacy, because individuals with all great intentions say, yes, I want to be a mentor, but perhaps they don't know or have the coaching or the leadership skills or the executive skill sets yet. They're learning them on what is inclusive mentoring all about and what is really being an ally and how to speak up for others even when they're not in the room, and not have that be a part of your career advancement, but stepping up for other career advancements. And the simple areas is just studying, taking a step back and being curious about like, what are microaggressions? And I can see how that could start chipping away at someone when they're in a room full of perhaps microaggressions that individuals might not necessarily realize that they're even saying, but how hurtful those type of scenarios could be. How to show up for others, like not interrupting when someone is speaking, or if anyone, it's about equity for all. Like we really have to do this for everyone involved. It's not just women in cybersecurity specific, it's for everyone, or these common allyship and equity advocacy. So not interrupting, or if someone does interrupt someone, to let them finish and then go back and say, I think Maureen was finishing. What was your statement, Maureen? And just validating that comments are being made and not letting other people take credit for other people's works. Just really and that takes a lot of bravery. I could say these things. And when you're in the point and you're witnessing what's going on, to be able to speak up as a true advocate, because it's not easy, because you're going to disrupt something or someone in the room, and to some degree, by pointing out like, we need to go back to that conversation because I believe so-and-so wasn't finished speaking, or validating that point that someone is making now was actually really made earlier by someone else in the room that didn't get the credit that they deserved. So just knowing that leadership and being courageous and standing up for others is a skill set itself. You have to start somewhere, and that's by educating yourself and learning these different ways about it. So
Very important points, very. So I have a comment from a student and then one question, and we might have time for one more after that, or I'm not sure yet, but we'll see. So first is Jennifer Pacenza, who actually went to the WESIS conference just now. And she said, I attended the 2022 WESIS conference and it was my first. It was one of the best professional events I've ever attended. So no question, I just wanted to say thank you. So that was great.
Well, thank you. It's because of the community, Jennifer. You being there is what made the conference so amazing. So thank you for coming.
And here's the question. Hi, thank you for speaking with us. You provided a lot of information, which inspired me a lot. I'm currently a student majoring in instructional technology, and I'm curious about what a possible career path might be in the field of cybersecurity for an instructional designer. Thanks.
Oh, that's a good question. And it's not one I can answer. So you could email me, lynn@wesis.org, and I could send you in the right direction. But I'm sure there's someone within our community that would love to answer that. And also in our member portal, if you're a WESIS member, we have that member portal, and that's a place for you to post all your questions and network and connect and work with one another. So there's so many different areas that you could throw out that question yourself and really get a diverse responses of people's based on their experience. But thank you. And so do that, go put it in the member portal, but also email me that as well.
And last question here, do you have a promotional code to share for signing up?
We don't have promotional codes there. You just go to the website. So under the join button, I think it's the second tab over, it goes like the wesis.org, and then it has the about us and then the join. So you just join and you see which area resonates with you. Whether you're a student, you're a professional. I think we have a veteran I believe we have a military spouse discounted rate, but it's all very affordable. We keep it under $100 even for professionals. So
Yeah, it is very affordable.
mhm. And if you're with a company, most companies do reimburse for the WeSys membership. So ask, just, it doesn't hurt to ask about your company supporting us either from a sponsor or a strategic partner perspective for you to get more memberships for your teams, or if they would even reimburse for your membership specifically.
Okay, and I just posted the link to the website for you.
Well, as the hour is getting to a close, I want to say, first of all, thank you, Maureen, for moderating. That was wonderful. And Lynn, that was an excellent talk. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day. For everybody that's attending either virtually or in get-togethers, thanks for coming. I hope you got something out of this. And I just want to finally say that the final talk for the CACR speaker series this year is Thursday, April 21st, with Dr. Somesh Jha from the Wisconsin Computer Sciences Department. And it should be a nice way to wrap up this series. And I just want to say once again, thank you, Lynn and Maureen, so much for a wonderful talk today.
Yes, thank you, Lynn. And thanks for helping us end our month-long summit during Women's History Month. So thank you. It's great to have you here today. Thanks.
Thanks so much. And thank you for everyone for taking your time out of your day to share it with me. So I really appreciate it.